Welcome into the K0LWC Ham Shack. Today, we're talking about the Kenwood D75 Alpha. The pricing has been announced. Am I going to get one? Should you get one? We're going to get into all of that. But first, I want to let you know this video is sponsored by Ham Radio Prep. Ham Radio Prep is the premier online amateur radio license study course. So if you want to get your amateur radio license or upgrade your license, hamradioprep.com has you covered. Don't forget, you can use my call sign K0LWC as your coupon code for 20% off your purchase. Again, that's my call sign K0LWC as the coupon code for 20% off. I've used Ham Radio Prep and I recommend that you use it as well. All right, let's get into talking about the Kenwood D75. Now, I own the Kenwood D74 for many years. And you know what got me excited about the D75 announcement is that Kenwood's not done. Everyone thought after COVID, the supply chain crisis, the component shortages, that Kenwood was getting out of the amateur radio game. But they're not. They're still in there, and they're coming out with the D75. But here's where things get tricky. Some people have been a little bit salty that look at this price, $750. So when you tack on tax and shipping, and if you're in the US, you're going to pay probably in the low 800s for this radio. And there's been some people online looking a little salty, but I'm not sure why, because this price really doesn't surprise me. If you remember the Kenwood D74, it was priced as a $600 radio, so tax and shipping, it was about $650. Now, post-COVID, increase in prices, inflation, component prices, I was totally expecting this radio to be $700. Now, we're at $750, so a little higher than I thought, but still, I was like, this is for sure going to be a $700 radio. So I'm not sure why so many people were surprised. There was no way they were coming back with this radio at the same price point. But now me, I don't have a pre-order in. I don't, and let me tell you why. And this is something of consideration, I think, for everybody, especially if you're new to Kenwood's lineup. These radios are phenomenal. I loved my D74. Where it really shines is it is by and large, for sure, the best portable APRS radio that you can get your hands on. No questions asked. But there is a couple big downsides that I want to know if Kenwood addressed before I plunk my money down. The first one of those issues is the most important to me. And if you've owned a D74 or any of the radios in this lineup back to the 72, you probably know what I'm going to say. And that is battery life. The battery life on the Kenwood D74 was not great at all, especially if you're using the radio with the GPS and APRS module turned on. You could literally watch the battery drop on the screen in a matter of hours. It was insane. So you almost had to absolutely have a second battery, and sometimes if you're going out in the backcountry, you might need 3 batteries. Bring all of the batteries with you if you hope to get some actual extended use out of your radio. Now that said, the APRS works phenomenal on this radio. It is very sensitive and can decode packets down to even the weakest of signals. But that battery life has me nervous. Has Kenwood addressed this? I would say it's not likely. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, but it's been a problem for multiple radios now, and I think that we're probably going to get the same kind of experience from battery life, but I don't know. And that's why I'm going to wait and see what the early reviews are and see if battery life has changed. If it is, yeah, I might just put that order in. If not, I don't know. I'd be more on the fence. So battery life is a huge red flag that I want to know if they've taken care of it. Another thing I'm waiting for is to understand if they've changed the speaker at all. Now, I would presume it might be the same design, but the speaker on the D74 was fairly tinny. It wasn't bad, it wasn't horrible, but definitely lacked a lot of the low end that I love so much from my Motorola radios. So I also want to see if they change anything with the speaker, whether it's the actual speaker itself or just the design of the speaker and how it sits inside the case. So that's another area where I'm like, yeah, we're going to wait and see. Now, the The third thing to know about this radio, if you're new to this radio, is it is a very complex radio. It can do a ton of stuff, but it's a complex radio to use. If you don't use it consistently every day or every week and kind of make it your primary radio, it can be a very confusing and frustrating radio to learn how to use. So just know that. Like, I would use it sparingly when I would go in the outdoors up in the Rocky Mountains, and every time I'd come back to the radio, I'm like, where the hell do I find this again? And I'd always have to go back to the manual and be like, oh, that's right, that's where that is. So it's a very advanced radio, definitely not for beginners. A beginner could probably get through it, but just know there's going to be quite the learning curve associated with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this radio is bad at all. I'm just saying is that this is like the Cadillac top tier, top HT for amateur radio. And, I wouldn't suggest someone that just got their license get this radio. There is a lot of things to love about this radio as well. The transmitted audio is phenomenal, and I'd expect no less from a Kenwood radio. You can hook into the actual radio directly via Bluetooth or USB and access the modem and the TNC in the radio and do digital from a computer and interfacing it with the radio. This thing has a massive wideband receiver and can receive just about anything, including all the way down into HF, CW, SSB. It has all kinds of wideband receive capabilities that we don't see in any other major manufacturer amateur radio. So many things to love. But my big watch out is that battery life. How does that speaker sound? And I just am going to hold off. What are you doing? Are you going to get this radio? Let me know down in the comments. I'm definitely interested, even though I don't care about D-Star. I still love this radio and want another great APRS handheld, but I'm just going to wait it out and see how those early reviews go. Are you going to do the same? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you again next time.